Hello, and welcome to the Stuttering's first show. I was just doing this for 20 minutes, realized the sound wasn't working thanks to someone who commented. Thank you. But yeah, I guess we're just going to restart it. I do not know if I'll do this every day. I want to, especially with the NFL free agency coming up, especially more so with NHL and NBA kind of hitting their strides with 1.5 months left in those seasons and the playoffs starting soon. I would like to do more, so let's just jump right into it. The big to many people, including myself, was wide receiver DJ Moore. I don't want to say star wide receiver, but Panthers' very good wide receiver DJ Moore, which is exactly what the Bears needed. The Bears, looking to trade down, they needed to grab picks, and if they could grab a player in the process, that is phenomenal, and that's exactly what they did. And pick 9. I thought they would want to perhaps go down to 2 or 4 or maybe even 7 with the Raiders. But I think that DJ Moore was the kicker. I think that's why they wanted to trade down to 9, because I thought they would still want a blue chip prospect. I know they probably wouldn't for 2 more seasons too. It's a great deal for Chicago. Chicago got one hell of a trade there. Now for the Panthers side of it, because we all know there's only one person watching, but we all know that the Bears got one hell of a deal, especially because of the way they spread the picks out. They had 2 second-round picks in this year's draft, and they gave up the later one of those. They still have all of their 2024 and 2025 picks, like when the Raiders traded for Devontae Adams or the Dolphins traded for Tyreek Hill. Or even with the Broncos with the Russell Wilson trade, is they gave up picks then. They gave up picks now. I like the Raiders traded their first and second. Dolphins traded a slew of picks. And, more specifically the Broncos, we don't want to talk about that. First, second, and back-to-back draft quarterback, and you just got your head coach in Frank Reich. It's a great trade. It's a great trade to Carolina for me. Because you would much rather need a wide receiver one than a quarterback one. I saw someone tweet that. And it's true. You would much rather need a wide receiver one. It's because there are so many wide receivers. It seems like every draft class there are 5 or 6 blue chip wide receivers. And every free agency cycle there's 5 or 6 out there. And especially last season when everyone was getting traded. The wide receiver market's crazy. It's crazy. I feel like you're going to be able to find one. You're not going to be able to find a quarterback that often, and especially when you're trading up from pick 9, you have to pay a premium, and that's exactly what they just did. I think it's a great deal for them. Let me fix this. This is kind of off-center. There we go. Yeah, I think they paid a premium because it makes perfect sense to. The Bears got one hell of a trade, but the Panthers, the way they're able to spread the picks out after they've been drafting pretty well the last few years, they need to re-sign Brian Burns, actually. That needs to be priority. Okay, we're live? Okay. Connecting for so long. The other big trade news in the NFL, just a few days ago, moving around money. Your stream froze. Yeah. Damn. Hey, Daft, dude, you're a good one. I'm going to just let it rock. If it keeps freezing, that's fine. I'm going to just let it rock. Because I want to get good at the whole talking thing. But Jalen Ramsey traded to Miami, one of the best corners in the game. It's a really interesting thing for the really interesting thing for the Rams right now. It's a really interesting thing for the Rams because they're trying so desperately to get to have just a little bit of cap space to get back at that $0 mark before the new league year starts. We saw them cut Bobby Wagner. We've heard the Jalen Ramsey rumors for some time now. And, dude, we even saw them say, hey, we're willing to trade Allen Robinson. Sometimes you have – I saw it froze that time. Sometimes you just have to do it. And the Rams, I'm surprised there was not more of a market for Jalen Ramsey. I hope you can read it, is that they can cut Jalen Ramsey after this season. Let's just say worst comes to worst, Ramsey comes in and sucks. It's no problem because the Dolphins can just cut him next season. With no dead cap. It does not hurt their cap situation whatsoever. That kind of begs the question, why didn't the Rams rock it out for one more season? And then you remember the league year is in 2 days. They need to make moves now to fix their cap space. And they were able to get nothing. They got pick 77 and third-year tight end Hunter Long, who's I think caught like 3 catches in his career. It's not a pretty return. I'm surprised there was not more of a market for Jalen Ramsey. I know many teams cannot afford the $17 million cap hit, but I thought more teams would make room considering this could only be a 1-year rental and the price tag is so low. I thought more teams would want to try for him. Apparently not. Maybe it was more of a Jalen Ramsey. I mean, the Dolphins are really going all in right now. It's an interesting thing. I think they got one hell of a trade here. Not because they didn't give up much, but because it can be a 1-year rental. There's 3 years left on Ramsey's contract and only 1 season of guaranteed money. That's one hell of a trade to me. Sorry, I saw it froze there. But Commanders re-signed D-tackle Daron Payne to a 4-year, $94 million 1 week after giving him the franchise tag. Actually, re-signing him saved $8 million in cap space, which that's kind of surprising that it saved money, because his cap hit under the franchise tag was $18 million. Now, really interesting contract, because obviously I think they should re-sign him. He kind of just set the market for defensive tackles not named Aaron Donald. And it's a big contract. It's some big money, especially for a team that already has signed Jonathan Allen, another homegrown D lineman, to a big money contract, and have Chase Young and Montez Sweat kind of entering their contract years. 4-year, $94 million. That's massive money, especially when you consider they're already paying Jonathan Allen, especially when you consider Chase Young is due for a contract, because they're already 4th in D-line spending in the entire league. That's according to SpotRack. All these numbers are according to SpotRack.com, by the way. If you want to learn more about contracts, that is the place to go. That's where I'm trying to learn the defensive philosophy. That's what I thought. Clearly, that's not the case considering this contract right here. And you got Chase Young coming up. You got Montez Sweat coming up. I think it's really interesting that it is backloaded. I thought they would want to front load the contract, so in a year or two, I don't know how many years are left on Chase Young's contract, they can re-sign him to a big money, potentially even backloaded contract. I mean, even the guaranteed money in this deal, I don't have the numbers pulled up in front of me, but even the guaranteed money is very evenly spread out. Like, I think it's like $50 million, so it's just really evenly spread out. I think it's a great thing that they re-signed him. I think it's awesome that they re-signed him. I think the structure in which they re-signed him is very flawed. But on the other hand, if you can bring him back, bring him back. Moving forward, NHL talk. How these shows are going to go, if I'm going to do them daily, I don't know yet. But I do want to do an NHL review and NBA review of the night before, or like on Monday's case, and the weekend before, and then previews for the night that will, previews for that night. Yes, I can't speak. But right now we got NHL review for the weekend. Some big stories. Some big-time Eastern Conference teams were either great or they were terrible. Starting off with the terrible, Carolina Hurricanes getting shut out in back-to-back games. That's crazy. I don't even have Floodgate scoring 3 goals in the final minutes. And then they got a big OT win over their rival in the Metropolitan, the New York Rangers. Rangers obviously going all in, bringing in Patrick Kane, bringing in Vladimir Tarasenko. Excuse me. I know they did not have Igor Shesterkin yesterday. They had him on Saturday in their big win. But this is a massive weekend for the Pens. They still have that first wild card spot. The Islanders are still at number 2, as the Penguins are 6 points out from the Rangers, as the Rangers are 3rd in the Metropolitan right now, and the Penguins are the 4th spot. I think they'll probably hang tight. I think they'll hang tight in that first wild card spot, as a lot of teams are currently fighting for that second wild card spot, including the Buffalo Sabres, which are playing tonight. I just got really ahead of myself there. We're not doing the preview yet. But yeah, just a massive win for the Maple Leafs. I'm going to just be biased and talk about my favorite team here. Massive win, 7-4 over the Edmonton Oilers. Actually, a comeback win over the Edmonton Oilers, because as I was watching the game, as the Maple Leafs went down 3-1, I was saying, man, fuck this. I'm not going to watch this. I look at my phone app later. I look at the ESPN app. I see now the Leafs have the lead after scoring 4 second period goals, including a Mitch Marner beauty. That was a crazy game with Matt Murray back for his second game, giving up a lot of goals early to the best goal scoring team in hockey. Not a terrible thing to have happen to you. Another back-to-back. Actually, there are a lot of back-to-backs in the NHL this weekend. Another big one was the Boston Bruins versus the Detroit Red Wings. Both of those games being afternoon TV games. The first one, Red Wings blew it. They blew an early lead in the second period, especially early in the second period. The Bruins just unloaded on them. They unloaded on them, and if anyone was watching it, they knew Red Wings are not surviving. I thought that was going to happen again yesterday, as the Red Wings went up 4-0, and then they started to slip. They started to blow it, but the buzzer ran out, and the the Red Wings survived 5-3 as the Bruins got there. Kind of scanning. The Winnipeg Jets going into the Western Conference. The Winnipeg Jets getting 2 wins, especially one over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa slipping right now, 3-5-2 in their last 5. Panthers aren't going to when they're playing the Toronto Maple Leafs, but yeah, that is some big news that Vasilevsky and the Tampa Bay Lightning have been slipping for a little bit now, and the Winnipeg Jets picking up 2 wins, and the Golden Knights picking up 2 wins as they further their lead in the Pacific. Moving into tonight, the preview of tonight. There are only 3 games tonight, so this will be easy to talk about. You got the Toronto Maple Leafs at home versus the Buffalo Sabres. Matt Murray will be in net for the second straight game for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's an interesting thing because this is his 3rd game back from being out for a month and a half. Matt Murray has not been good, to say the least. He did kind of clutch up in the second period versus the Oilers and specifically in the third period, but now they have him back once again against the team. I don't think the Maple Leafs will have any problems, though, in the actual game. I think they'll win. They're 2-0 versus the Sabres in this season with a 5-2 win and a 6-3 win. I don't think it'll be a big problem for Toronto at home. Moving forward, Colorado versus Montreal. What are we even talking about? Mikko Rantanen, Nathan MacKinnon. I think Colorado will have Alexander Georgiev in net. I probably just butchered that name. But yeah, they are gonna beat the Canadiens. And the late game tonight, the 10 o'clock game, one that I plan on watching after the Maple Leafs, is the Dallas Stars going to Seattle to play the Kraken for back-to-back games. And the last one just played on Saturday night, Friday night, one of the nights. It was a big win. It was a big win for Dallas. They were down by 1 with 2 minutes remaining in regulation, and they ended up getting the win. They got a goal with 1 minute left, and a goal early in overtime, getting the win as Dallas stays hot. And if Philip Grubauer is in net for the Kraken tonight, I think they're going to continue to be hot as as Dallas has won 4 of 5, and Seattle is entering this game on a dropping 2 in a row, including the one to Seattle. Moving on to the NBA. We got the review throughout the weekend. I didn't watch I didn't watch that much basketball this weekend, to be completely candid. It was kind of crazy on Saturday, though. Like 8 players dropped 35 or more points, and when you look at the list, you have the big stars. You have, Kawhi Leonard, Steph Curry. You got Trae Young. And then you keep going down the list, and you see Talen Horton-Tucker almost dropped a 37-point triple-double. You're like, well, how the fuck did that happen? I see actually people are watching right now. How the fuck did that happen? How did Talen Horton-Tucker score points? And then you see last night in the Pelicans Trailblazers game, Trey Murphy III drops 41 points. I know the Portland Trailblazers did not have Dame last night, but now they're 2 games out from even the play-in spot. I guess we can just jump straight into it. The Western Conference is bananas. You got the Lakers, Jazz, Thunder, and someone else is tied for that. Is currently tied from seeds 9 to 11 right now, or seeds 9 to 12, excuse me. It is kind of crazy. It is the Pelicans that are also tied there. It's big. It's big right now. The Lakers got a big loss last night as the Knicks entered the game on a 3-game losing streak without Jalen Brunson, and the Lakers are actually hot, looking to be finally at 500 in March for the first time this year in March, and it just did not happen. The Knicks, Julius Randle had a good one. It just did not happen for him. Moving into tonight's action, few games tonight. There is an ESPN doubleheader with Luka and Kyrie hosting the Memphis Grizzlies. Don't really have much to say about that. Obviously, Ja Morant will not be playing, and the 10 o'clock game will be the Suns going into Golden State. Golden State 26-7 at home this season. I think they'll be able to make easy work of the Suns. We got Minnesota versus the Hawks tonight. I don't fully know how that one's going to go, but that is one I'm watching as both teams are kind of trying to cement themselves as the playoffs are only 1 month away. You got Celtics Rockets, that's a blowout, and Pacers Pistons, who cares? Actually, the Jazz versus the Heat, that's a pretty interesting game. Taylor Horton Tucker coming off of a 37-point night. I'm just joking. But the Heat of the night, in my opinion, is Milwaukee Bucks at Sacramento. Two of the top teams in the NBA right now. That is contingent if Giannis is playing. He is a game-time decision. Yeah, that was it. That was the first show. I don't know if I'm gonna do these daily. I think they're fun to do, but yeah, my voice hurts after doing that back to back because the first one didn't have audio. Shout out to Daft Cannon for that one. But yeah, I don't know if I'll do these daily.